Hi guys, I'm going to give an example of what a video review of the books might look like. So I have my books, I have my textbook, and then I have Blackboard up over here to the side for me to look at while I'm giving my talk. So I actually chose 3 books. You only have to do 1. Itsy Bitsy Spider. It takes the song, the Itsy Bitsy Spider went up the water spout. But the book, and there's a series by this author, Isa Trapani, actually takes the story and expands it. So the Itsy Bitsy Spider goes up the water spout, but then the Itsy Bitsy Spider, she climbs up the kitchen wall. She then goes up the yellow pail. And so it just continues the story and the rhyme. So it's very pattern-based, very rhyme-based, all based on the same tune of the song. Super cute, super fun. Kids love them. So the diversity in this book, it's animal-based. A lot of an infant and toddler books are animal character-based stories, and that's very age appropriate. However, there's still diversity in the song, in the book, because of the things that they talk about. I mean, a spider, water spout. These are things that if you live in the city in a high rise, you don't have an experience with a water spout. Yes, most kids have experiences with spiders, but the type of spider is going to be different. And also the feeling of the spider, if it's safe, if it should be killed, if it shouldn't be killed, that kind of thing. There's also diversity in some of the equipment and some of the other inanimate objects in the story. You know, a yellow pail and a mop. That doesn't look like a mop most kids today see. So that would be an experience. That's a diversity. So diversity isn't just people. It's not just our race or our religion. It is more. It's also about our environment. And this is kind of more of a country-based storyline, but it would be very appropriate in any infant and toddler, even preschool classroom. Very fun too. Another is one of my kids' faves when they were very little, and it was Mr. Brown Can Moo Can You. Again, a lot of rhyme, again, a lot of animals. But also, because of the animals, that brings in the diversity in that you have different animals, different sounds that kids won't all have experience with. If they live where it doesn't rain very much, or different kinds of animals and city kids, they're not going to have those same kinds of experiences. So that is an element of diversity in the book. But again, very animal, fictitious based, so the diversity is not necessarily in your face. You know, it's not what most of us think when we think about diversity, but that is an element of diversity. Last one is my opposites, or mis opuestos. And so this one is obviously diverse because everything is in English and Spanish. So it's great for any classroom, whether you have Spanish speakers or not, but especially in a Spanish speaking classroom where you have bilingual learners who speak Spanish at home, because you've got the English word and the Spanish word. And Spanish is a rather easy language to read because the vowels and consonants don't change sounds. It doesn't have as many tricks to it as the English language. So most people can probably learn to read Spanish pretty easily. You may not know what you're reading, but here you would because of the words. And so pointing and talking, even labeling the things in the book, very powerful for infants and toddlers. So this is obviously diverse. Now, all 3 of these books build on different very similar cognitive ideas that are expressed in our textbook. So with my textbook, I've gone through and I've looked and I thought, how did the patternization of these 2 books and the rhyming and kind of the catchy tune of both, or the catchy rhythm, how is that appropriate for infants and toddlers? Where this book is using vocabulary building and simple pictures. So how does this build differently? I'm going to start with this one. We know, as stated on page 111, that there's a burst of activity in the brain development in infants and toddlers, but especially in infancy, and language is key. You start hitting a critical period of development for language. In fact, it even says language areas are especially active from late infancy through the preschool years. And so that is a key point here, because we are engaging in language and not command language. Do this, do that, yes, no. It's richer. It's not intuitive. It has to be taught. And to teach it, you have to use it. And so this builds richer language. All three of them do. Also, we know that it's all about that first experience. On page 114, our authors talk about experience expectant brain growth. And experience expectant brain growth is emphasizing how our brain grows based on the positive experiences we have. And we know that reading with children and reading quality books with children is a really prime way to build that high level relationship building experience. Those children on our laps. Toddlers do not need to be in a circle. Let them be on your lap. They'll read better. If they're running around the room or around you circles, but they're still engaged in the story or the songs, that is appropriate for toddlers. So engaging in a relationship, engaging in an interaction while reading, not just them listening to you silently, but engaging in that interaction, is experience expectant brain growth opportunities, as summarized on page 114. This book actually pulls one step further on the cognitive development ideas, and they actually touch on this in our book on page 130. It's fascinating. And it was the whole discussion of syllables and how infants begin hearing hard syllables versus soft syllables, words that start differently, and how they can start differentiating that. And that's all very mother tongue or home language based. So this kinds of books is really helping that dual language learner, because they're going to hear both languages, they're going to see the difference. But either language, no matter what language I'm speaking, we still have articulation and soft and hard, and so they will hear that, and so it's especially powerful in a book like this. So 3 of my favorite books. That's my summary. That's my discussion board entry. All I have to type, and you'll see in my thread, is the MLA citing for all 3 books. And make sure you use the actual MLA citing. Do not just give me the title and the author.